My professional evaluation is underway. I didn't mean to reveal my power, but with just a slight display of skill, I made the strongest S-rank warrior tremble in fear, all because he discovered that I actually possess the legendary black attribute. Not only is it the first of its kind in history, but it can even devour all other colors. Those so-called genius girls from noble families, they all pale in comparison to me. Turns out, this is a world ruled by the ink play system, where status is defined by color, and I was born without any color at all. The lowliest existence in this fortress city. The colorless are labeled as trash from birth. Burdens. Cursed once. Everyone told me, I don't deserve to have dreams. I don't deserve to join the vanguard. I don't deserve to stand in the light, and I certainly don't deserve to be a colorist guarding the city. But I refused to believe them. I fought desperately to prove that even a colorless person can have their own brilliance, to squeeze into the vanguard. I gave my all to find the precious ink. In my eyes, this wasn't just some ordinary liquid. This was the key to changing my fate, my only hope of being accepted by the world. I held the ink excitedly, rushing to the C-rank vanguard recruitment. I kept telling myself over and over, this time, they'll finally see my hard work. They'll definitely give me a chance. But reality gave me a cruel slap in the face. The moment the guard saw me, he barked at me to get lost with a look of pure disgust. The contempt in his voice stabbed my heart like a knife. Filled with anger and resentment, I thrust the ink in front of him. I screamed, asking what more did I need to do. He finally dropped the act, coldly telling me the truth. Being colorless was my original sin. He looked down on me and said, people are born with a fixed place in life, and a fool like you who can't face reality is just plain annoying. He said that outside the city walls lies an endless darkness. The black wastelands are a graveyard for countless fools. Only the chosen ones born with color can become pioneers of the frontiers, heroes who protect humanity. In the black wastelands, the weak don't even have the right to survive, and I don't even qualify as weak. He warned me that if I pestered him again, he wouldn't hesitate to kill me. In that moment, all my pride, all my expectations, and every hope for the future crumbled into dust. I will sign up for Leon. Only my partner, Milu, stayed by my side. He's a tiny wing hand, my only family and the only light. In this freezing world, I stroked his head, forcing a calm voice to tell him it's okay. If they won't take us here, we'll just find another place. But only I knew how truly desperate I was. Time after time, I was rejected. Time after time, I was humiliated. But the dream of becoming a colorist, it never burned out. I promised myself I'd get stronger. I promised that I'd make everyone who looked down on me eat their words. With nowhere left to go, I returned to Mary's workshop. Mary is the only person in the city who has ever shown me any kindness. Seeing my dejected face, she knew immediately that I'd failed again. She stood up for me, full of indignation. She said I was way more capable than those arrogant vanguards. She said I could dive deep into the wastelands alone and bring back supplies. I clearly have skills that rival anyone else's, so I could only manage a bitter smile. So what if I'm capable? In this world, a colorless person's abilities are never recognized. Seeing my depression, Mary gave me a do-or-die suggestion. It's the most elite legion in the city. For today, I didn't even have the courage to get close to them. I was certain I'd be rejected. But Mary told me, this legion only cares about talent, not your background. Anyone can apply. Those words were like a beam of light piercing my pitch-black life. I've dreamed of being a colorist since I was a kid. I've always wanted to protect this city. Even if I am colorless, I want to give it one last shot. I gritted my teeth, deciding to grab onto this final lifeline. I thanked Mary and set off to register with Milo. My heart was full of hope for the future, planning how to prepare for the assessment and how to prove myself. But I never imagined that danger had been stalking me from the shadows. With my guard down, a brutal strike slammed into my back. Agony instantly surged through my entire body. I couldn't help but let out a scream. When I struggled to open my eyes, two menacing strangers were standing before me. They looked at me like an ant they could crush at any moment. They mocked me playfully. How is a colorless piece of trash still alive? After all, no one cares if a colorless person dies. Their target wasn't me, but Milu. They saw right away that Milu is a highly intelligent, rare wing hand that follows humans. He'd fetch a fortune on the black market. They sneered and said, something this precious, wasted in the hands of a colorless punk like you. It's a damn waste. I struggled with everything I had, roaring at them to let Milu go. He's my only family. I can't lose him. But they contemptuously told me that my resistance was meaningless. A colorless person's struggle was laughable in their eyes. They took Milu by force and dragged me in front of a row of wooden shacks. They told me, mixing different colors of ink, it creates a toxic ink mist. If you fall in, not even your bones will remain. This is the dumping ground they chose for my corpse. I hate it. I hate my own weakness. I hate the injustice of this world. I hate these people who do anything for profit. I've endured the discrimination. I've endured the contempt. I've endured the dirty looks from everyone. I have never harmed a soul. Yet fate keeps pushing me into the abyss over and over again. They stole Milu. They stole the only thing I had. I'm losing my very reason to live. Rage and despair are clashing wildly inside me. Suddenly, an eerie power begins to drain from my body. That sickening, supernatural sensation, it nearly makes me lose my mind. Those two thought they'd won. They laughed as they walked away, ready to cash in at the black market. I lie here in the shack, my body completely failing me. I can't even lift a single finger. I watch the direction they went, with nothing but endless despair in my heart. Is this really how it ends for me? Do I not even get a chance to save Milo? I can't give up. Milu and I have a promise. I promised him I'd protect him. That I become the strongest colorist. Just as my consciousness begins to fade, a mysterious voice echoes in my head. It demands to know why I'm just lying there. Why am I doing nothing? Am I really just going to accept this fate? It tells me not to hesitate. Go save Milo. Embrace the true color that belongs to you. In that moment, it's like I've been struck by lightning. I suddenly realize I always believed I had no color. But true color was never something granted at birth. It was hidden within my soul. In my refusal to surrender to fate, in my burning desire to protect those I love. By the time I come to, I found myself trapped inside the shack. My previous memories were a blur, but I saw you instantly. He was still waiting for me. He hadn't given up on me. My sheer obsession exploded in an instant. A terrifying surge of black energy shot up from within my body. The toxic ink vanished without a trace. An unprecedented, powerful beast slowly emerged from the center of the energy. Both of them were paralyzed with shock. They couldn't believe it. That a colorless trash looked down upon by everyone could summon such a horrifying power. This isn't a curse. This is my unique, true color. Meanwhile, undercurrents were already swirling in the city. In front of the ruins, someone gave a terrified account. A massive beast appeared out of thin air, tearing a huge area to shreds in a heartbeat. 2 B-rank Vanguard members died under mysterious circumstances. The color was completely drained from their bodies. This event sent shockwaves through the entire city. The high-ranking color masters were deployed in person to investigate the shadow zone. They discovered a massive beast that shouldn't exist had appeared in the city. It defied all logic. City beasts had always been small, harmless species. The sudden emergence of such a ferocious giant, there must be a dark secret behind it. They tracked the creature's trail, but found themselves at a loss. No one knew that this crisis was inextricably linked to me. I woke up in total darkness. My first instinct was to call for Mila. When I saw him safe and sound, responding to me, the weight was finally lifted from my heart. Fragments of memories flooded my mind. I suddenly realized, back in that shack, I had actually gained color. It was something I hadn't even dared to dream of. A natural-born colorless had awakened his own color power. It was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing. Suddenly, Mila began to spin rapidly, transforming into a light source. He instantly illuminated the surroundings. The sight before me sent a shiver down my spine. I was actually in the Black Wasteland Mists, in the Black Forest Zone, an area only accessible to B-rank vanguards and above. Before I could even process this, countless beasts had already surrounded us. I grabbed Milu and ran for our lives, narrowly dodging strike after strike. Then, I made a shocking discovery. My body had undergone a total transformation. Despite running for so long, I didn't feel a hint of fatigue. My movements were agile and lightning fast. I was surging with limitless power. So this is the power of color, the power I have always dreamed of. But disaster struck. I lost my footing, and my body tumbled uncontrollably. A beast lunged at me, sinking its teeth deep into my arm. I thought I was a dead man. But in the next second, something incredible happened. The beast's teeth actually shattered on the spot. While I remained completely unscathed, I stared blankly at my arm, unable to believe my eyes. This is the strength color has granted me. This is my edge for a comeback. Just then, a massive cyclops appeared before me. This type of beast is supposed to live only in the deepest part of the Black Forest. Its presence here was beyond eerie. Before, I would have turned and fled in terror. But now, there was no fear in my heart, only the conviction of victory. I finally have the color I've longed for. I no longer have to run. I can finally fight with honor. Black energy coiled around me. I stopped dodging, stomped the ground, and charged straight at the Cyclops. With just one punch, I smashed that ferocious beast to pieces. Power surges through my entire body. I can finally take control of my own destiny. But the crisis is far from over. I suddenly feel the color inside me draining, and it's draining fast. The stronger the power, the faster it bleeds out. I start to panic. If the color runs dry, will I turn back into that helpless, colorless trash again? Will I fail to save Milu after all? In my state of panic, that mysterious voice thunders in my head once more. It tempts me, pointing out that the prey is right in front of me. As long as I devour its color, I can survive. I can become even stronger. It tells me if I don't want to die, just reach out. Survival instinct and inner caution are tearing me apart. With a trembling hand, I reach out. The next second, the Cyclops' corpse turns pitch black. Dark energy surges violently into my palm, distorting the very sky above. As I feel the power flooding into me, only one thought remains. Now, I can survive. After emerging from the black wastelands, I go straight to Mary's shop. By now, I've completely changed my look. Mary greets me warmly, asking what I need. But in the next heartbeat, her face pales with shock. Her tone is filled with suspicion and fear. She barks at me to stay back. Before I can even react, she's already backing away in terror, letting out a horrified scream. Mary, calm down. It's me. I quickly try to soothe her. She freezes at the sound of my voice, choking on her words, unable to speak. I know that I'm unrecognizable now. Even those closest to me can't see who I am. Trembling, Mary asks what happened to me. Her emotions spiral out of control. She keeps shouting that she'll never forgive those who hurt me, even threatening to smash their heads in with her hammer. I gently patted her back, telling her that I had already settled the score for myself. Only then did Mary calm down slightly. She admitted she'd been living in constant fear ever since she lost track of me. She never imagined I'd gone through something so horrific. I apologized to her for making her worry. I also told her that after falling into the shack, instead of dying, I had awakened a color that was uniquely mine. But Mary's expression instantly darkened with unease. But black is the color of the beasts. Won't people be afraid? I clench my fist, my eyes resolute. So what if they are? With this power, I can finally become a colorist. Now, all I want is to focus on the Dawn Vanguard entrance exam. Luckily, I made it back just in time. I asked to borrow some clothes and spare gear from Mary, promising to pay her back later. Mary sighed helplessly, teasing me for pulling the same old routine, but she softened and agreed, treating it as an investment in my future career as a colorist. She took me to get the supplies, smiling as she said she had the perfect things for me. At the assessment grounds, it was packed. The massive crowd made me feel a bit nervous. Mary reassured me, saying as long as I stayed sharp, everything would go smoothly. Others nearby whispered too, saying it's only natural to be tense for the exam. I gazed at the scene before me, filled with overwhelming emotion. I never thought the day would come where I'd stand here, taking the Dawn Vanguard entrance exam. We've already come so far. Joining the Dawn Vanguard is every Vanguard's dream. This S-rank team has achieved countless feats exploring the wastelands. They have the elite colorists, known to the world as the hope of Ink City. But this year's assessment is full of heavy hitters. Competition is beyond brutal. The second daughter of a colorist noble family, renowned bounty hunters, and many veteran vanguards with distinguished records, they've all gathered here. But everyone is talking about just one person, Gale, the Blade of the Peak. He's practically a lock for admission. He's strong enough to take on multiple beasts alone, but his temperament is violent and cruel. He's pissed off a lot of people. Word is he was kicked out of his old team and had to join this assessment. The other contestants go dead silent whenever he's mentioned. Only a few talk big, claiming that with a little training, they could be as strong as him. Gale scans the crowd coldly, here disdain on his face. He mocks everyone there, calling them pathetic punks who don't have the S-rank caliber he expected. He's utterly disappointed as everyone bows their heads, afraid to talk back. His gaze lands on a spot in the crowd, and a spark of interest flickers in his eyes. Thane, second daughter of the Thane family, the rumored genius prodigy. She might be the only exception. Just then, a commanding voice thunders across the field. Everyone falls silent instantly, their eyes filled with reverence. An S-rank colorist from the Dawn Vanguard is personally presiding over the exam. This shows just how high the stakes are. It's my first time being this close to such a top-tier powerhouse. The sheer pressure is suffocating. The S-rank colorist speaks bluntly. Thanks to all the candidates, whether your goal is money, power, honor, or duty, none of it matters. The Vanguard only cares about talent. We only recruit those who can brave the wastelands and reclaim human territory. There is no room for the weak. With those words, the assessment officially begins. The first trial is the arena matches. For a Vanguard, combat ability is everything. Outside the walls, it's survival of the fittest. The weak are the first to die. The arena is the only stage to prove your worth. The Legion will select candidates for the next round based on their performance in the ring. As the numbers were called out one by one, Gale, the fan favorite, actually stepped into the arena right at the start. Everyone pitted his opponent. They thought it would be a total, one-sided slaughter. With a look of sheer arrogance, Gale shouted that he could finally have some fun, claiming he was bored to death, and his opponent was me. In everyone's eyes, I looked thin and frail. My posture was strange. I seemed weak and fragile, like I crumble with one blow. Gale was completely dismissive. He planned to stop holding back, and in the fight, in a single strike, he channeled his power, sharp blades materializing around him. Mastering this technique at such a young age, he truly was a certified genius. Are you ready? If you can't block this, my attack will tear you to pieces. Gale roared, charging at me with everything he had. Everyone expected my instant defeat. The next second, the arena went dead silent. Then, an explosion of disbelief erupted. With just a slight move, I completely took down the invincible Gale in one hit. The referee was stunned, the audience was speechless, every eye in the house was glued to my ordinary-looking fist, frozen in terror. Black. That's the color unique to beasts. It represents fear, danger, and the forbidden. How could a human master the power of black? Gale was one shot. Was it because of this eerie, non-human power? I looked at the faces around me, filled with terror, disgust, and dread. I stood on the arena floor, lost and dazed. I only used the power that belongs to me. To win a fight, I was meant to win. So why? Why is everyone looking at me like I'm a monster? What exactly did I do wrong? By now, my second opponent had arrived. Stay back. I said stay the hell back. My opponent screamed hysterically, but I kept closing in, step by step. His attacks hammered against me, but they vanished like stones dropped into the ocean, failing to leave even a scratch. Terror washed over his face, unable to process what was happening. Why? Why are my attacks doing nothing to you? Amidst the desperate whistling of the wind, the referee's voice boomed across the arena. Number 286, victory. Number 286, victory. Number 286, victory. Standing in the center of the ring, I listened to the judges' deliberation. Everything felt crystal clear. They were marveling at my potential, saying I was the standout among the candidates. But more importantly, I was the first person they had ever seen with a black attribute. They whispered among themselves, certain that my potential was limitless, wanting to recruit me as soon as possible. But they didn't know. To me, this black power is both my trump card and a ticking time bomb. The assessment had just ended, and before I could even catch my breath, a voice rang out from the stands. Hey, rough day, huh? I spun around, my heart skipping a beat. The newcomer was a red colorist, one of the top-tier powerhouses in Ink City. When the examiners asked why he was here, he just played it off, saying he was passing through, but anyone with eyes could see he was lying. They asked how his current investigation was going. The red colorist gave a vague reply, saying there were no leads for now. Before quickly changing the subject, he asked about this year's assessments, wondering if there were any candidates worth watching. Since their colleagues, the examiners didn't hold anything back. They told him that besides the young girl from the Thane family, there's also a unique dark horse. The red colorist's interest was piqued instantly, the one with the black attribute. A flash of intensity crossed his eyes. The examiner said I crushed a top favorite in the first round. It was a stunning performance. At this rate, my admission is pretty much a done deal. Then, the blue-haired woman with him spoke up. Sir, could this kid be the one? The red colorist's gaze darkened. He gave a silent nod. An eerie event just happened, and now a new color appears. This is no coincidence. For now, let's just wait and see. Their conversation reached my ears, word for word. A chill ran down my spine. So they've been suspicious of me from the very start. My appearance is already tied to those bizarre incidents. I clenched my fist, a powerful obsession burning within me. This power is unbelievable. With it, I can finally become a vanguard. But I can't let my guard down. I have to stay cautious. Last time, I overexerted myself and my strength just bled away. If that happens again, I'll never make it to the end. While I stayed on high alert, the crowd erupted again. Candidate number 17, victory. It was the young girl from the Thane family. The evaluators were full of praise. The Thane family definitely lives up to the hype. Her strength is terrifying. I watched her, marveling at the coincidence of it all. As she walked past me, she gave me a meaningful look. Soon, the first round officially ended. The yellow colorist ordered the losers to leave the field. The remaining candidates moved straight to the second round. The crowd erupted in wails of despair. Everyone was praying that the next phase would be easier. But in the next heartbeat, a hand slapped onto the yellow colorist's shoulder, instantly bringing a deathly silence to the field. It was the red colorist. He spoke up. The second trial will be handled by me personally. The crowd went wild with panic. Every face was a mask of hopelessness. He is one of the most powerful colorists in Ink City, with the most recorded missions in reclaiming the wastelands. His power is purely destructive. Even his allies are afraid to work with him. What's even more terrifying is the rumor that he has never passed a single candidate. Even his partners tried to talk him out of it, warning him that the captain would punish him severely for altering the assessment on a whim. But the red colorist didn't give a damn. He simply announced, the trial is simple. Just hold your ground. The moment he finished speaking, countless high-temperature barriers crashed down. Scorching heat waves swept through the entire arena. He calmly explained, this is just a recreation of an environment I've been in. The temperature there was exactly like this. Compared to a real encounter in the wastelands, this trial is nothing. If you can withstand the heat, you pass. But if you fail, it proves you aren't qualified to face the wastelands. The heat was like purgatory. My whole body was burning up. The screams of the candidates filled my ears. He calls this simple. Just how horrifying is the actual black wasteland? I fought back with everything I had, but my power was draining at breakneck speed. Damn it. I should have held back my strength earlier. Now, the harder I push, the faster my color bleeds out. The yellow colorist watched him, commenting to himself. They said he'd been slacking off on his training lately. Yes, the rumors were wrong. The man hasn't lost his touch at all. His control is terrifying. Needless to say, he truly was the one who stood out. Right at that moment, the apex individual, the youngest daughter of the Dane family, had already broken through the barrier. Red thought he was pretty decent. More importantly, his power was perfectly countered. No wonder he's called a genius. But at this moment, I fell into panic. If I lose my color in front of everyone and expose my secret, all the colors present will definitely join forces and sell me out immediately. I can't just sit and wait to die. I have to find power I can absorb, just like last time. I stared fixedly at the high-temperature barrier in front of me. This was a masterpiece of Red's power. Maybe I can absorb it too. What I didn't know was, Red had been watching me all along. His expression unreadable. He thought he shouldn't expect too much from me from the start. I had no idea what the limits of my absorption ability were, but there was no time to hesitate. I gritted my teeth and activated my black power, reaching toward the barrier, and the next second, a miracle happened. I actually began to absorb the barrier's power like crazy. My body, which was on the verge of collapse, was instantly refilled. The pain from the heat completely vanished. But what I never expected was, everything went out of control. I ended up absorbing all the barriers in the arena. This shocked everyone present. Red's eyes burst with intense excitement. We've got a madman here. Looks like this time, we found a truly promising talent. But my heart sank. Something felt wrong. I had drawn too much attention. At this moment, even the youngest daughter of the same family began to doubt herself. She couldn't help but ask herself, for me, this exam was no longer just a simple test, but my only chance to prove myself. I gave it everything I had just to prove to my family that I'm not useless. But at the critical moment of the exam, a strange black presence suddenly appeared before her eyes. At first, he even wondered if he was seeing things. Was that really a normal color? A color someone could actually possess? A huge wave of shock and unease instantly overwhelmed him. All this time, his goal was to become the strongest in his family, so he couldn't afford to lose to anyone. And he didn't want a mistake in this exam to make his sister angry. But the me before him was far stronger than he had ever imagined. Even if he gave it everything he had no confidence he could defeat me. For me, he felt an indescribable kind of power. Though he didn't know what it was, he forced himself to stop overthinking. Even if he knew my identity now, it would mean nothing. He swore he wouldn't be like this next time. But right then, Red suddenly wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Whoa. That was the power of black just now. You drained all the surrounding colors in an instant. I'm a pretty curious person. Tell me more about your ability. Hearing that, I suddenly remembered the exam wasn't over yet. But the red colorist calmly told me, "Don't worry, I've already confirmed you passed." I froze, unable to believe what I just heard. I passed. I really became a vanguard. All my long efforts had finally paid off. Excitement and joy almost drowned me. The red colorist turned his head and looked at the yellow colorist on the platform. "Hey, I'll leave the rest to you. Red, you're so reckless. The exam isn't over yet." Then, the yellow colorist continued. "Everyone, pay attention. Due to unexpected circumstances, the exam was interrupted. Now it will continue," he said, "except for number 17, who broke the barrier. Everyone else must take a retest." And just like that, under everyone's envious gaze, I walked out of the exam hall. Then I was taken to another place. Red told Purple to wait in the car. But the next second, a storm surged inside my heart. This place felt extremely familiar. It was the ink factory where I was killed. Now it had already turned into ruins. Red told me this had happened not long ago, and 2 vanguards had even lost their colors. It was the first time he had ever seen something like this. It was said that witnesses had seen a massive black monster. What he said next made me even more uneasy. Not long after, a completely unprecedented black color appeared, a man capable of absorbing others' colors, a brand new ability. Don't you think that's a little too coincidental? I had no way to argue back, so he had already figured me out. Fear instantly gripped me. I wanted to run, but I knew very well I was no match for him at all. He was known as a hero among the colorists. What should I do? But then he suddenly laughed, saying he was just testing me, and my reaction was pretty boring. He said his job was to investigate the cause and outcome of this incident, but compared to the mission, he was more interested in my ability and color. He told me, under normal circumstances, all colors can never merge. But my ability had broken that absolute rule. Judging from my performance in the exam, I clearly hadn't fully mastered my power yet, especially that terrifying absorption ability. Before I could react, Red told me to try using my ability on him to see its limits and how it works. I panicked and refused again and again. "It's too dangerous." But Red just scoffed, saying he was far stronger than I imagined. He even ordered me to shut up and do it. I struggled internally. Black represents the land of darkness, a power that devours everything without distinction. I couldn't let this power lose control. It could completely destroy the Radiant City. Red also revealed a piece of news to me, that there are people in this world who turn into monsters. If I'm like them, Red would eliminate me without hesitation to prevent future trouble. In the end, I gritted my teeth and agreed, warning him not to blame me if he got hurt. But the moment the ability activated, even space began to distort. Intense pain swept through my entire body, like scorching lava surging wildly through my veins. I couldn't control this power at all, and I could clearly feel what was surging inside me was the immense power of the Red Colorist. What made me even more desperate was realizing Red's power was as vast as the universe. Soon, I was completely exhausted and couldn't hold on any longer. Red also came to a conclusion. My ability couldn't absorb someone at his level for now, but for most people, I was already an extremely dangerous existence, and the power I showed during the exam was only the tip of the iceberg. After seeing me lose control and take on a monster-like appearance, he became even more certain that I was the culprit behind the disappearing colors. He felt he should subdue me before I went mad. But right then, countless questions flooded my mind, but I had to stay calm. I had to stop all of this before this terrifying power completely devoured me. But the power inside me kept roaring. I was tired of suppressing it. I craved this surging force. A voice deep within kept tempting me to draw in power without restraint. Don't hold back. I fought desperately, trying to shut those voices out. Just as I was about to completely lose control, I suddenly regained my senses. Red looked surprised, clearly not expecting me to snap back at that moment. I just felt like I was about to die. But why did I lose control and right in front of a colorist? I realized I had to understand my own power. He looked at me and found me quite interesting. Unbelievable. The risky test was stopped right there. Nervously, I asked if I had passed, but Red suddenly changed tone. He told me his mission was to find whoever caused the incident and punish them, and I was the #1 suspect. Now that my ability and my black color were exposed, countless people would be watching me. The damage I caused was beyond anything I could repay. If I angered the higher-ups, I would be expelled, or even taken away as a test subject. I fell into despair instantly and couldn't help but shout, "I'm a victim too. None of this is my fault." But Red changed his tone again and said if he chose to back me up, he could solve all my problems. Of course, his help wouldn't be free. With no way out, I had no choice. Compared to becoming a lab rat, I was willing to pay any price. Red revealed a devilish smile. "Oh really, anything?" Before I could react, Red told me he was taking me to join a brand new expedition no one had ever entered. I was completely confused, and before I could ask more, he smiled and reassured me, telling me not to worry. I wouldn't be going alone this time. Other newcomers would be joining too. The organization would soon officially announce this expedition. As for the mission details, he only told me to arrive at the meeting point on time and said I'd find out when the time came. Though I was full of doubts, I had no choice but to agree. When I arrived at the meeting point, the others were already waiting. Our vehicle sped forward, its wheels crushing the black wasteland. I was deeply shaken. Since becoming a vanguard, this was the farthest I had ever traveled. Could this really be my first mission? After officially becoming a vanguard, as I was lost in a mix of emotions, Gil suddenly shouted at me, telling me to stop wandering around and sit down and quit annoying him. I had finally become a true vanguard. But being assigned to the same team as these people made me feel uneasy. I couldn't help but wonder, was this really the right choice? Everything started when the Red Colorist suddenly intervened. He gave all the candidates a second chance, and many stood out because of it. Among the newcomers, a top talent named Ailey even took the initiative to join the Red Colorist team. Dale looked extremely displeased, gritting his teeth at me, unable to believe he had lost to someone like me. He kept insisting it was just a moment of carelessness and that after this mission, I wouldn't get lucky again. He even threatened that if it weren't for Lady Lavian, he would have already torn me to pieces. Lavian just scoffed inwardly, thinking Gale was just daydreaming. Meanwhile, Ailey directly added fuel to the fire, telling Gale to give up, saying he was no match for me and would just lose again. Gale was instantly crushed, furious but helpless. I was surprised. I didn't expect Ailey to speak up for me, but right after that, she declared she would be the first to challenge me. I froze on the spot, not remembering ever agreeing to such a duel at all. But Ailey insisted that the moment our eyes met, I had already accepted, and told Gale, the loser, to stop acting tough. If anyone was going to challenge me, it would be her first. The atmosphere in the team grew tense. My unease only grew stronger. I had a bad feeling this expedition wouldn't go smoothly. The forward outpost before dawn with my own eyes. In the past, whenever I entered the Black Wasteland, I was always alone. I had never seen an S-rank Vanguard squad with such a massive supply operation. I was completely stunned. Just then, a finger lightly poked my cheek. I turned around and saw it was Molly. I was both surprised and happy. He smiled and said there was no way he'd missed my first mission, and he had brought Nilu along as well. I quickly thanked him for always taking care of Nilu. But Molly didn't mind at all, saying Nilu was already family and that he had successfully joined the Dawn Vanguard. to take part in this expedition, even though it would be busy. He believed it would be an incredibly valuable experience. Just then, the assembly orders suddenly rang out. According to the plan, we were about to enter the Blacklands. Reluctantly, I entrusted Nilu to Molly, repeatedly reminding him to take care. Molly waved goodbye with a smile, telling me to go without worry. He even reassured me not to feel upset. But the next second, Nilu suddenly leaped out, and, amid Molly's shout, turned into a puddle and completely disappeared. Molly was shocked, frantically asking where Nilu had gone, but the team had already departed. I couldn't hear what he was saying at all. All he could do was pray that everything would be okay. Meanwhile, the yellow colorist, Arancha, was giving a pre-battle briefing, loudly announcing immediate departure, repeatedly stressing that everyone's safety came first, and to avoid taking unnecessary risks, he seriously informed everyone that scouts had reported in Zone 21 there was an unidentified, extremely dangerous creature, and they had also discovered a corpse believed to be related to it. Everyone was ordered to stay on high alert. The team responded in unison, but then a panicked report came from the rear. Someone anxiously reported that the red team leader had taken a group of completely inexperienced rookies and left the main force on his own. The commander was both angry and worried, busy handling base affairs, while helplessly complaining about Red's recklessness. All he could do was silently pray that Red would bring all the rookies back safely. Meanwhile, we had already ventured deep into the black wasteland. Everything around us was pitch black. We couldn't see a thing. Ailey nervously asked the red leader if we had taken the wrong path, worried we might run into danger. The red leader calmly replied that our destination was different from the main force. I looked at Gale and Ailey beside me, feeling confused, and asked why they were here. I had thought the red leader only planned to take me alone. Gale immediately protested, saying he wouldn't let me take all the credit. Ailey also stated that Red never trains just one person. There was no way I'd get such an opportunity alone. Only then did the Red leader explain that his goal wasn't aimed at anyone, and told us not to worry. As long as he was there, we'd be safe, because he was part of this team too. After that, he said nothing more and led us forward. Not long after, we encountered a beast. Everyone immediately spread out and engaged it in fierce combat. In real battle, Ailey finally experienced the harshness of the Blacklands. The pressure here made it hard to breathe. Completely different from training. He realized he had to conserve his strength, or he would be exhausted very quickly. They also had to coordinate their attacks to win. But deep down, he was fired up, determined not to lose to me. Amid the intense battle, in the middle of the fight, Ailey suddenly realized something and couldn't help but ask me, "Why do you never use a color extractor? Even in the previous exam, you never used one." I felt a bit embarrassed, and honestly admitted that I didn't have one at all. They're expensive, and I can fight without one, so I've never used it. Hearing this, Gale completely broke down, his face full of disbelief. A color extractor is standard equipment for all vanguards. By infusing it with their own color, they can repel monsters. That's basic knowledge, yet I had never even used one. His hand holding the sword trembled, thinking that he had lost to someone who didn't even use a basic weapon. He felt both humiliated and furious, and swore he would defeat me one day. To wash away this shame, the red leader watched the shaken Gale and Ailey and smiled slightly, saying both geniuses had been fired up, and things were about to get very interesting. He told us we were almost at our destination and to push a little harder to finish the mission cleanly and celebrate afterward. At that moment, the ground was already covered with defeated beasts. The red leader finally relaxed and said, "All right, let's take a short break. This is just the beginning. Stay alert. We'll rest for 10 minutes, then move on." As soon as he finished speaking, Gale immediately took out a bottle of ink and complained in exhaustion, "I've used up too much energy." I couldn't help but turn to look and froze. Seeing that ink, I instantly understood this wasn't ordinary ink, but a refined substance that allows colorists to quickly restore their power. An essential item for every vanguard. They are all custom-made, perfectly tailored to each person's unique color, and incredibly valuable. Yet the people in front of me were drinking it as casually as water. I felt a bit envious, but the next second I let it go. Whatever, I don't need it anyway. Just as I was thinking that, Ailey immediately noticed something off about me and frowned. "What are you doing?" Only then did I realize I had instinctively started absorbing the residual energy from the fallen beasts. In just a moment, a surge of power flooded my body. I instantly felt fully restored, completely recovered. Ailey asked again, worried, "Are you okay?" I was stunned for a moment, then quickly reassured her, "It's fine, don't worry, I've done this several times." "Are you sure?" "Just now, you directly absorbed a beast's energy." Ailey still looked uneasy. Meanwhile, Gale was completely stunned, his mind racing. How is that possible? He absorbed a beast's energy and looks totally fine, while the two were still shocked. The red leader suddenly spoke in a light tone. Break time's over. Kids, I hope you're ready. Because we've arrived. I followed his gaze. And right before us, there floated a massive energy mass. Like a black dome. The pressure was overwhelming. I was shocked. What is that black thing? The red leader's expression turned serious. This is exactly why I need your help. Take a look for yourself. A blazing flame suddenly ignited in his palm. After a loud explosion, the attack was completely absorbed by the black mass. The barrier remained unharmed. See that? The red leader said we have no way to destroy it. It automatically absorbs all color energy, and the more it absorbs, the stronger it becomes. He paused and looked at me, his gaze meaningful. This kind of absorption ability is very similar to yours, isn't it? That's why I think you might be able to destroy it. Inside, there's a path leading to the ruins. Our main objective lies within those ruins. To find the heart fragment. Gale looked completely confused. A fragment? I've never heard of it. Ailey nodded as well, saying it was her first time hearing about it too. I was just as confused, like them. I knew nothing about it. The red leader waved his hand. It's nothing major. The Radiant City is just searching for it. Never mind. I'll explain it to you later. For now, let's deal with this obstacle, alright? I took a deep breath and stepped toward the black mass. Without hesitation, I pressed my hand against it. In an instant, violent black energy surged into my palm. The mass visibly twisted in my hand and began to shrink. The red leader's face lit up. It actually works. The black mass rapidly diminished before our eyes. I knew it. Your ability will be incredibly useful to us. But just as everyone relaxed, Gale suddenly cried out in terror. The vibrations in the air. Why are they getting so intense? His face turned pale. At this rate, the beasts are about to. Before he could finish, countless beasts surged in from all directions. We were instantly surrounded on all sides. Looks like there's quite a lot of them. Ellie and Gale immediately drew their swords and stood ready. Hold them off while Kai destroys the barrier. Wipe them all out. The two rushed forward without hesitation, but the red leader didn't act right away. He simply stood behind them, providing light. Gale's sword was already itching for battle. One sweeping strike dropped a large group of beasts. Ellie wasn't any weaker. Her sword energy tore through countless enemies, instantly cutting down the beasts charging in. Seeing this, the red leader couldn't help but sigh. I was ready to step in at any time, but do they even need my help? Still, he casually made a token move. I thought I'd be cleaning up behind them. Turns out they're handling it just fine on their own. I still prefer doing nothing. But right then, my heart suddenly sank. A strong sense of unease washed over me. What is this? From that barrier earlier, I felt a power similar to mine, but far more twisted and domineering. Is it because of my color? I have to be careful. If I lose focus, it might drain all my power. Don't underestimate me. Let's see who's stronger. I gritted my teeth, pushing my ability to the limit, cranking it up. Finally, I succeeded. All the black energy was completely absorbed, but looking ahead, an endless dark passage stretched out. I froze. Is this really the entrance to the ruins? I couldn't even see the end. I turned back and shouted, Leader, I've absorbed the barrier. The red leader's eyes lit up. Well done. See, I knew bringing you was the right call. Then he immediately. Eli and Gale, still cutting down the beasts, suddenly heard the shout. The barrier's been destroyed. Return to formation now. No need to deal with the remaining beasts. But in the next second, the situation suddenly changed. The ground began to shake violently, as if the entire world was turning upside down. The red leader's expression changed instantly, and he acted without hesitation, instantly crushing the remaining beasts into nothing. Gale was completely stunned. What? Am I dreaming? How is this possible? The ground split open like a chessboard, and an overwhelming pressure pressed in from the distance. The red leader wiped cold sweat from his brow, his voice heavy. I knew things were going too smoothly. I had already heard there was a dangerous creature detected nearby, but I didn't expect it to be that one. Looks like there's no time to slack off. We looked up and saw a figure slowly appear. He carried 5 weapons on his back, his hair half black and half white, his aura violent and chilling, clearly an extremely dangerous opponent. The red leader immediately shouted, Listen to me. You all get into the ruins now. Find the fragment of heart together. I trust you. I was stunned and looked at him in disbelief. What about us? Then what about you? Before I could finish speaking, he shoved me hard. Shut up. Go now. My body immediately lost control and fell downward. Leader Red, what can we do on our own? Explain it clearly. Above us, the red leader and that mysterious creature were about to clash. After who knows how long, I slammed heavily onto the ground, gritting my teeth in pain. That really hurt. I forced myself to stand up, just about to look around, When my eyes widened instantly, what lay before me was an ancient ruin. But where is this place? My God, this place is unbelievable. I can hardly believe. I couldn't believe my eyes. Just as I was spacing out, Gale's complaining suddenly cut through. Damn it, I can't see a thing. Ellie immediately cut him off. Stop whining, follow me. I see a light over there. When he saw me, Gale let out a sigh of relief. Is that you? I thought I was the only one lost. Ellie didn't hold back on the sarcasm. We got held up, and it's all his fault. What? You were just as bad. Gale immediately shot back, but then, he was stunned by the sight before him. Anyway, where exactly are we? This place is way bigger than I imagined. I never expected to find traces of an ancient civilization here. Gale looked utterly incredulous. We're supposed to find the heart shards, right? In ruins as massive as these, how are we even supposed to look? We don't even know what the damn things look like. I had to agree with him. I think he's right. This is like looking for a needle in a haystack. If only Ilu were here. The words had barely left my mouth when I heard a familiar cry. A small figure suddenly rushed over and grabbed onto my leg. Ilu, what are you doing here? Ellie noticed immediately. Her face full of suspicion. What on earth is that? Some kind of creature? My heart skipped a beat. Crap, I saw it. I couldn't find any more excuses to hide it. At this point, there was no keeping it a secret. Besides, maybe this little guy could actually be useful. I took two of the quickly headed Irma to them and shouted, "Get over here and look. I've got a partner who can find the heart shards easily." After my brief explanation, Gale immediately frowned. So basically, we're counting on this little thing to find the shards. Yep, Ilu can find them in the blink of an eye, I said with confidence. Gale clearly wasn't buying it. Stop talking out of your ass, he scoffed. If such a rare creature actually existed, I would have heard of it by now. Who are you kidding? I told you, it's for real. I was getting a bit annoyed. Hut the crap. Just watch. I looked at Ilu. Ilu, show this idiot what you can do. Ilu instantly leaped into the air, spinning rapidly. A second later, it actually transformed into a shimmering guiding light. Gale and Ellie were absolutely shell-shocked. They couldn't find words for a long time. That's incredible. We immediately followed Ilu forward. Gale was still stubborn, muttering under his breath, I've never heard of anything like this before. Where did he even find this thing? I turned to Ilu. You think there are shards nearby? Meow. Ilu chirped in response. Counting on you. No sooner had I said it than Ilu bolted in one direction. Looks like it found something. That way. I followed immediately. After walking for who knows how long, we were already far from the starting point. How much further down? I couldn't help but ask. We reached the mouth of a passage. Gale glanced at me. Hey, what's with the dawdling? If you're scared, stay in the back. Who said I'm scared? Let's go, I snapped back. This place was even more massive than I'd imagined. I couldn't even guess what it was originally used for. Look, the Ilu is changing direction. I alerted the other two. It's definitely found something. The next second, a thunderous boom echoed through the air. My heart skipped a beat. It found something, all right. But what the hell is that thing? The thing before us was neither monster nor machine. None of the three of us recognized it. Ellie and Gale's faces went pale instantly. Their hands flew to their weapons, ready for a fight, but the thing didn't attack right away. Instead, it shot a beam of white light at Ellie. Ellie completely froze, looking like her brain had just short-circuited. Then the light swept over Gale, leaving him just as stunned. My heart jolted. It was scanning our hex color codes. Finally, the white light landed on me. A cold, mechanical voice rang out, detecting the Black Witch's color signature. Threat identified. Commencing purge. Before I could even react, it slammed a massive fist into me. I was sent flying. Ugh, this damn thing. I gritted my teeth in pain. Why is it coming after me? Whatever. If it wants to throw hands, it's got a death wish. Fighting through the pain, I balled up my fist and swung back. Ugh, why is this thing so solid? My hand is practically numb. Damn it, what the hell is this thing? Just then, Ellie and Gale jumped in with everything they had. But their blades hit the thing. Without leaving even a single scratch. No matter how hard they struck, it did nothing. This isn't a living creature. Normal attacks are completely useless. In the heat of the moment, I noticed something on its chest. A dark, star-shaped core. That's gotta be its weak spot. Without hesitating, I threw a punch at the core with all my might, but its counterattack was instantaneous. I was hit hard again. My attacks aren't doing a thing. What do I do? Desperate. A thought flashed through my mind. The door is open. Alright, however, from before. If I let the darkness consume me, maybe I can break through this, but that would drain too much energy. Fine, I'll just coat my fists in the dark power. Perfect. I locked my eyes on the target, waiting for an opening. Gathering every bit of strength, I threw a massive punch. It worked. The monster shattered under my fist, turning into a pile of scrap. I was panting. That was easier than I thought. I knelt down and picked up the core it dropped. Huh? So this is the core. It's nothing like the ones we usually see. Mary is gonna love this. Ellie rushed over to me immediately, her eyes searching mine. What was that move you just used? I thought you could only absorb other people's power. How did you do that? I need to know. We might have more fighting to do. After all, Gale crowded in as well, complaining with a scowl. Why didn't you use that sooner? I wasted my energy for nothing. I was speechless. I can't believe this guy has the nerve to say that. But I explained anyway. It takes way too much out of me. I wanted to save it as a last resort. Just then, the three of us froze. Wait, am I seeing things? Ilu ran straight to the door, barking at me like crazy. What is it, Ilu? Is there something back there? I cautiously reached my hand inside the doorway, but I felt absolutely nothing. I don't see anything. Are you sure this place is safe? I just felt like this barrier was similar to the last one. A split second later, a terrifying black mist erupted, swirling around us violently. What the hell? We're being sucked in. Gale screamed, panicking and complaining as usual. Damn it. Why did you have to touch it? Look out. Amidst the shouting, the three of us were forcibly pulled inside. Everything went pitch black in an instant. Ugh, what do we do now? Where the hell have we landed this time? It's too dark. I can't see a thing. Is everyone okay? The words had barely left my mouth when Gale suddenly let out a terrified shriek. What? His voice was trembling, on the verge of a total breakdown. My power is gone. How? How is this happening? What's going on? Meanwhile, inside the Eastern Government office, attention was thick enough to cut with a knife. The director was screaming at his subordinates in a blind rage. Where the hell did that idiot go? Why haven't you tracked his location yet? A staff member replied, shaking with fear. Sir, he's currently out on reconnaissance with Lord Red. He specifically said for you to stay out of this. The director was shaking with fury. He slammed his fist onto the desk. That's Black we're talking about, the one entity everyone is terrified of. How dare he run around so recklessly with someone that dangerous? I don't care if he's a hero everyone admires. There has to be a line. We've been busting our asses to suppress every bit of classified intel just to keep the public from panicking. But now? Great, the council is absolutely losing their minds. Everyone's suspecting that a new dark wave is about to hit us. How am I supposed to explain any of this? If this keeps up, higher-ups are going to have my head. The director looked irritably at Camellia, demanding an answer. As the captain of the Dawn Vanguard, Camellia just lazily raised an eyebrow. She teased that the director was still in a foul mood, warning that such anxiety would only lead to a self-inflicted disaster. The director was left speechless. Camellia remained perfectly calm. She admitted his situation was indeed tricky, but pointed out that Lord Red never does anything without thinking it through. They both knew that man was completely trustworthy. Besides, taking such a massive risk might actually bring everyone some unexpected benefits. They just need to have a little faith in him. The director opened his mouth to argue, but Camellia abruptly changed the subject, complaining about how bitter her coffee was. She wondered how anyone could drink this stuff to wake up. The director snapped at her, telling her to stay focused on the conversation. Only then did Camellia offer a half-hearted apology. Before her tone shifted, she cut straight to what was really bothering him, the Black Witch. Ever since the Black Witch appeared, darkness had become a synonym for death and terror. Humanity had nearly gone extinct during that era, with monsters running rampant everywhere, giving birth to the Black Wastelands. A new wave of monsters was inevitable. It was only a matter of time, and that's exactly why the Vanguard was the only force standing between humanity and extinction. Camellia continued, noting the surge of anomalies in the city, like that black colorist who appeared out of nowhere. They weren't sure if these events were connected yet, but one thing was for certain: they had to rally every bit of strength they could to face the coming crisis. Even that forbidden shade of black couldn't be cast aside so easily. So, she asked the director to try and sway the council. The director looked conflicted. Easier said than done, he muttered, but he finally gave in and agreed to give it a shot. Perhaps in the future, this child of darkness would be the only hope for the City of Light. Cut back to the scene. Gil was suddenly screaming at me, demanding to know what was happening. Why did everyone's colors disappear? Why are you the only one who still has yours? I rubbed my face awkwardly. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I can control the darkness. The words had barely left my mouth when Gale groaned in pain, clutching himself. He looked like he was on the brink of collapse. Beside him, Ellie was holding her head. She said she felt just as weak. I was completely floored. What the hell is wrong with them? Why am I the only one who isn't affected? Could it be that this is their first time experiencing a colorless world ever since we got here? I felt like something was off. If I focus hard enough, I can see these eerie, flickering omens I've never seen before. Suddenly, the three of us all looked in the same direction. Gale shouted at the top of his lungs, "Who's there? Show yourself, right now." My heart sank. I recognized those whispers, that they were different from what I remembered. A wave of pure dread washed over me. I could feel it clearly. Something twisted and terrifying was slowly closing in on us. The next second, our eyes widened in shock. A monster appeared out of thin air. How did it get here? No sound. No warning. It just appeared, while I was still reeling. It pointed a finger at me. Dark energy instantly wrapped around my body. The dark power within me surged out of control. A massive black vortex materialized, as if it were trying to swallow everything in sight. Under a blood-red sky, a snarling black shadow blotted out the horizon. Below were countless powerful, mutated beasts, and that shadow towered over them like a god. Is this a memory? No, this feels more like reality. Who am I? Who the hell am I? A gentle voice echoed in my head, saying I needed a name. From this day on, your name is Kai. Go find your own path, your own empire, and your own color. I snapped out of the vision. My back was drenched in a cold sweat. That image, it was absolutely terrifying, but I'm certain of one thing. The person who appeared at the end was Lumiere. Before I could even process the shock, I saw Gale swinging his sword wildly, screaming for everyone to just die already. He had completely lost it. Ellie was on her knees, clutching her head and apologizing over and over. She kept muttering, "I'm sorry, sis, it's all my fault." They were both trapped in some kind of nightmare. Their mental states were a total wreck. I figured that monster from earlier must be behind this. Regardless, we had to get the hell out of here fast. Just then, Ilu suddenly reappeared. I was beyond relieved. I rushed over to ask if he was okay. But Ilu seemed to have picked up on something. I asked him if there was something nearby. He signaled for me to follow his lead, but looking at Gale and Ellie in their delirious states, I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, I had a light bulb moment. Maybe Ilu's power could save them. A second later, a massive orb of light enveloped the two of them. Dark energy slowly bled out from their bodies, and the two finally snapped out of it. I was overjoyed. I told them to stay put and not move an inch, while I went ahead to scout things out. I walked alone for a long time, but still found nothing. Those eerie whispers never stopped, hissing nonsense into my ears. It was pure torture. I was on the verge of breakdown. Just as my frustration was peaking, a bright light suddenly caught my eye. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be what I'm looking for? I dashed toward it. Sure enough, it was a star shard. I was certain this was definitely a star shard, but its appearance was really strange. Do they all come in different shapes? I didn't dare linger. I just wanted to grab it and get out of there, as far away from this creepy place as possible. But the next second, my face went pale. Absorption ability, it actually triggered on its own, totally out of control. Luckily, it only lasted for a second. It probably won't be a big deal. But before I could even breathe a sigh of relief, the pitch-black space snapped back to normal. The black wastelands are definitely full of surprises. I rushed back, calling out for Gale and Ellie. They looked at me, completely stunned. They asked how I managed to find my way around a place like this. I shook my head, admitting I wasn't really sure myself. Then, I pulled out the heart shard. I told them I'd found it. Ellie gasped in surprise. So this is the heart shard the leader mentioned. It holds countless colors inside. This is incredible. Gale frowned, asking with concern if I was really okay. Just as I nodded to say everything was fine, Ilu, out of nowhere, swallowed the heart shard in one gulp. The three of us were floored. We just stood there, speechless, for a long moment. All we could do was stare at him in shock. I had no idea why he would do something like that. The blood drained from my face. Ilu, I screamed. You can't eat that. Before I could finish, Gale had already lunged forward, eyes bloodshot. He grabbed Ilu, roaring in a blind rage. Damn it, what the hell are you doing? Spit it out. Now, my heart jolted. I rushed over and grabbed Gale's arm. Hey, cut it out. Gale's eyes were full of resentment and anger. We went through all this hell to get here. Was it all just so he could gulp the shard down? Let Ilu go. Just as we were arguing, things took a turn for the worse. The ground began to shake violently. Debris started falling everywhere. What? I shouted in terror. Why is it collapsing? Run. We have to get out of here now. Then, the sheer terror of death gripped the three of us. We pushed ourselves to the limit, bolting toward the exit with everything we had. The sound of the collapse behind us grew louder, feeling like we'd be buried under the rubble at any second. But as we reached the area below the exit, we were stunned by what we saw. A group of Vanguard members was gathered above us, staring grimly at a deep, black gouge torn into the ground. Damn it, one of them cursed under his breath. I knew there was something dangerous nearby. I wondered what kind of beast it was. Could these marks belong to that thing? The orange-clad woman leading them looked deathly serious. I'm certain that Maniac has resurfaced, she said grimly. After all, they don't call him the sword demon for nothing. She paused, her voice laced with dread. I thought he only appeared because we intruded upon his soul, but I never imagined he'd be one of the Black Witch's henchmen. It looks like taking him down will be a massive undertaking. A nearby teammate quickly followed up. There have been reports lately that monster sightings are on the rise. Do you think it's linked to the sword demon? Clan leader Arancha? Arancha nodded, her tone resolute. You're right. The investigation ends here. We're pulling out now. What? The teammate was incredulous. But we're so close to reaching our goal. No, Arancha's tone left no room for argument. We have enough ink and crystals for now. Don't take any more risks. Our main priority is trained recruits, and this should be enough for now. Before she could finish, a blinding red burst of energy exploded above them. She instinctively squinted, her heart racing with shock. That color, could it be someone from the red group? And is the one they're facing really that infamous sword demon? A split second later, a sharp wave of sword energy sliced through the air, heading straight for Arancha and her team. Arancha's expression shifted instantly. Hit down. Now. She bellowed. Before the shout even faded, she had already hoisted her massive hammer, her presence exploding with power. She was determined to pay back this sudden assault tenfold. With a thunderous swing, the sound of the impact was deafening, as if space itself were twisting and shattering. Arancha issued a stern command. The expedition is over. Everyone, fall back to the outpost. Yo, move out. I'm gonna back up Red. The moment she finished, one of the members stepped forward. Understood. I'll lead the remaining squad out. Stay safe. Clan leader Arancha. In a flash, Arancha's silhouette turned into a streak of light, bolting toward the direction of Red's battle. Looking from afar, the battlefield where Red fought was already a complete wreck. Shockwaves rippled outward like a spiderweb. It was a brutal sight. Red strikes and the sword demon's energy clashed repeatedly in midair. Sparks flew everywhere, followed by relentless explosions. The two were locked in a stalemate, neither gaining the upper hand. Unable to break through, a cruel glint flashed in the sword demon's eyes. He suddenly grabbed the spear from his back. Eerie black energy instantly surged through it as he hurled the spear toward Red without hesitation. In the nick of time, Red reacted with lightning speed, swinging his sword to parry. Clang! With a massive resonance, the spear was sent flying. Simultaneously, Red used the momentum to deliver a counter slash. A fierce wave of energy aimed straight for the demon's head, but the sword demon was even faster. In the blink of an eye, he closed the gap on Red, thrusting his blade forward. Red quickly countered with an upward parry. Clang! The two blades collided, sending blinding sparks flying everywhere. The sword demon looked utterly stunned, as if he couldn't believe his attack had been blocked. You actually blocked that. His shock lasted only a fraction of a second. The next moment, Red's spiritual counterattack officially began. Raging flames erupted instantly, practically filling the entire space. A scorching heat wave blasted forward. The sword demon's face paled as he hurriedly retreated, clearly not expecting such a violent onslaught from Red. Nice work. Hey old timer, let's see if you can dodge this. A sharp, clear shout rang out. It was Arancha, rushing in with her massive hammer, a provocative smirk on her face. If you can, give it a try. She slammed her hammer down toward the sword demon. Caught off guard, the sword demon took a direct hit. The force of the impact shattered the already broken ground even further. A massive tremor followed. The sword demon looked on in disbelief, clearly blindsided by the ambush. Arancha landed firmly on the ground. Red couldn't help but chuckle. You're late. I almost thought I was a goner. You know what? Arancha cut him off, her tone mixed with concern. Cut the crap. Meanwhile, the sword demon slowly rose to his feet again. Of the 5 weapons he originally carried, only 2 remained. Arancha stared at him, unable to hide her frustration. I gave it everything I had, but it looks like it wasn't enough. Red spoke up from the side, his tone laced with warning. With your skills, it should have been easier. Just don't underestimate him. Arancha nodded. Every colorist, myself included, doesn't want anything to happen to you. Red waved him off impatiently, clearly annoyed by his rambling. Anyway, with the 2 of us teaming up, this just got a whole lot easier. Let's cut down this damn witch's other henchmen together. The sword demon stared at the duo standing against him, his expression finally turning deathly serious. The black energy around him surged even more violently. But right at this explosive, critical moment, a few disheveled voices suddenly drifted into their ears. Almost there. Hey, stop pushing. I almost fell. Just hurry up and climb. A second later, a dust-covered hand appeared at the edge of the exit. Finally, huh? We actually made it out. I never thought I'd be so happy to see the black wastelands. That was pure hell. Our sudden appearance made Red and Arancha freeze instantly. Their faces turned pale with horror as they cursed under their breaths. Damn it, they chose the worst possible time to come back. Before the words were even out, the sword demon suddenly lunged toward us. Red screamed at the top of his lungs. Get away. Don't try to take him head on. But Gale and Ellie drew their swords immediately and charged straight at the sword demon. But they were nowhere near his level. With 2 sharp cracks, the swords in their hands were shattered into pieces by a single strike. Gale and Ellie were paralyzed with shock, unable to believe their eyes. What? My blade. It just snapped like a twig. He's way too strong for us. Just then, the sword demon swung his blade again. A fierce wave of energy bore down on the defenseless Gale and Ellie. My mind went completely blank. Driven by a sudden surge of courage, I instinctively threw myself in front of them. Splat! The black energy sliced through my arm instantly. Agony flared. My arm was severed completely. Black blood sprayed out as my body collapsed uncontrollably to the ground. Hi! Gale and Ellie screamed. their voices cracking as they shrieked my name. A moment later, the sword demon backhanded Gale across the stomach with his blade. Gale let out a muffled groan and fell, unable to move. As for Ellie, the sword demon seized her by the throat, dragging her forward to use as his hostage. Red and Alan. Sia's expression shifted instantly. She let out a fierce roar. Seeing this, the blade demon gave a cold sneer. He tightened his grip on Ellie's hand in an arrogant and ruthless tone. He barked, "Back off, stop following me, and hand over the key. Do that, and I won't hurt her, but if you don't listen, she dies." I collapsed on the ground like a dying dog. The excruciating pain from my severed arm nearly made me black out. Black blood stained the earth beneath me. I could see it clearly. The killing intent from the figure in red exploded. Their eyes were burning with overwhelming rage. "You bastard," they hissed through gritted teeth. But the blade demon wasn't falling for it. His voice grew more urgent. "Make your choice. Now," he threatened. Arancha's face turned pale with fury, yet there was nothing she could do. She roared, "You damn bastard. What key are you even talking about?" "I have no idea." As soon as she finished speaking, something unexpected happened. The dark energy inside my body began to surge uncontrollably, wrapped in a black aura. I slowly stood up. This sudden turn of events left even the blade demon in total shock. His voice trembled slightly. "Who are you?" The blade demon was completely stunned. He stared at me. How is he still standing? And more importantly, how can he use dark power? The moment he finished a sentence, my severed hand began to rapidly regenerate. Then, I slowly reached out my palm toward him. The blade demon's pupils shrunk. His body was pulled toward me, completely out of his control. Ellie was instantly released from his grasp. At this moment, I felt like pain himself had possessed me. Arancha and the other person were left speechless. How the tables have turned. I grabbed the blade demon by the throat, just as the victory was sealed. The voice in red cried out in concern, "Get over here now, damn it." In the end, I still lost control of my own power. He told me that he had become one of the witch's black hands. It was only then that the blade demon truly realized something was wrong. He let out a pained shriek. "Ugh, he's stealing my power. I'm not dreaming. He really is just like him." He stared at me, face filled with shock. "This kid is the key," he muttered to himself. A second later, he completely panicked. The heavy black aura radiating from my body suddenly sprouted countless mouths. Every single one of them was famished. They locked onto the energy inside him, drooling with hunger. The blade demon frantically gripped his sword hilt. Clink, clink. With a few swift slashes, he cut down the mouths formed from the aura. "I can't beat him like this," he thought, retreating. "I need a change of plans. Start with his arm first." Then, his sharp sword energy swept toward me once again, but to his horror, the blade demon discovered that no matter how he attacked, he couldn't leave even a scratch on me. I caught his blade with one hand. My body then began to dissolve like a shadow. Terrified, the blade demon leaped into the air. He never imagined I could be this powerful. Just as he was trying to catch his breath, a cold voice suddenly echoed in his ear. Arancha had seized the moment to strike. "Take this," she roared. "Go to hell." The blade demon desperately blocked with his sword. His heart was filled with bitterness. "This is bad. The key is right in front of me. But do I really have to retreat?" But Arancha was lethal and relentless, closing it step by step. Without a second thought, the blade demon turned and bolted. He didn't hesitate for a second. "You bastard. Weren't you acting all tough just now? Do you really think you can get away?" Arancha bellowed. She gestured toward the crimson waves in the distance. "Stop him. Don't let him reach the depths." Red had already been fuming with suppressed rage. Seeing the sword, he immediately charged straight at the blade demon. "Hey, you think you can just walk away?" Before the words even left his mouth, his blade began to glow with dense, crimson particles. Radiant flame annihilation. He struck with a downward slash. The blade demon let out a blood-curdling scream. His arm was severed clean off. Even more shocking, the strike carved a deep, jagged trench into the ground. His severed arm was still engulfed in flames. The fire at the wound showed no signs of dying out. The blade demon cursed through gritted teeth. "Damn it, it's the radiant flame. It won't regenerate at all." Red pressed his advantage, lunging at him once more. He sneered, "I told you. There's no escape, right? I'll send you to join your comrades." A new round of fierce attacks followed immediately. The blade demon was covered in wounds, looking absolutely pathetic. Before escaping, he spat out a final threat. "This isn't over. I'll be back, and I will take the key." As the words faded, he vanished into thin air. Arancha rushed to Red's side. She asked urgently, "Old man, should we keep chasing him? He's getting away." Red shook his head. "Let's call it a day." Arancha looked devastated. "Ark," she shouted in frustration, "we were so close. It can't be helped. We aren't prepared to head into the depths." Red explained helplessly, "Even with the lanterns, this is as far as we can go. The black wastelands act like a shield for them." Arancha was filled with resentment. Red also looked resigned, forced to accept the reality of the situation. Just then, Ellie and Gale approached them, with heads bowed in guilt. They said, Captain, I'm sorry for causing you guys so much trouble. Red waved his hand dismissively, his tone softened significantly. Don't worry about it, I'm just glad to see you're alive. Arancha chimed in. Yeah, exactly. We should just be grateful no one was killed. Red's demeanor shifted, his gaze landing on me. His expression grew solemn. More importantly, the priority now is figuring out what we're going to do with him. Is he even still conscious? He looked at me, uncertainty in his voice. I knew he could lose control of his power at any moment, but I didn't expect it to go this far. And what's with this ominous aura? Is he actually absorbing the power of the Black Wastelands? But a split second later, the unexpected happened. The black aura surrounding me vanished instantly. Even my hair lost every bit of its color. Look, he's finally coming to his senses. Red and Arancha were both stunned. They stared at me in total shock, colorless. Before he could finish his sentence, my vision went black. I collapsed straight to the ground. The group stood there in silence, looking down at my unconscious body. Their minds were racing with questions. Who or what is this guy? Meanwhile, the Blade Demon had fled back to the heart of the Black Wastelands. Crimson flames continued to drip from his severed arm. He broke into a cold sweat from sheer pain. Fortunately, before long, his arm finally began to regenerate. Just then, a playful, feminine voice reached his ears. Oh my, I guess I'm not the first one here, huh? You look terrible. Just got your butt kicked, didn't you? I told you before. Stop jumping into danger and picking fights with everyone. The Blade Demon's face darkened. The newcomers were two women. One of them kept circling him, examining him, her face full of curiosity. Well, I'm bored out of my mind anyway. Quick, tell me what happened. You're not exactly the type who gets beaten easily, right? So spill it. Who trashed you like this? As she spoke, she looked down at the ground and her eyes lit up. Whoa, look at these crimson burn marks. You went up against Red. Hee. You actually dared to face that monster and live to tell the tale, knowing you didn't stand a chance. Why on earth would you provoke him? Whatever, forget I asked. Seeing you in such a pathetic state is honestly so satisfying. Huh? Her laughter made the Blade Demon's blood boil. He barked, shut up. Get lost. But Keishi didn't mind at all. She kept smiling and said, that guy is not a powerhouse that any ordinary person can match. Exactly. He's the kind of man who puts his life on the line. Every time he fights, he's constantly dancing on the edge of death. Teehee. Her tone suddenly shifted, becoming much more serious. By the way, you felt it too, didn't you? The seal on the black, which was recently broken. You noticed it too, right? Do you know who did it? If you have a lead, just tell me. You know exactly what a broken seal means, don't you? The Blade Demon sneered. You idiot. You think I'd ever tell you? Keishi pouted. TCH, this guy is zero fun at all, but it doesn't matter. We'll find that key ourselves. The other woman next to her quickly chimed in. Yeah. Big sister is right. We'll just find it ourselves. We don't need this jerk. Keishi studied the Blade Demon's expression, a glint of realization flashing in her eyes. Ha. Look at that face. Something definitely broke the seal. And it's connected to those humans from the City of Light. As long as we keep sending out other monsters, we'll find a clue eventually, won't we? Oh, I can't wait to see how this plays out. The Blade Demon remained stoic on the outside, but inside, he gave a cold snort. I'll be the first one to get that key. He knew very well that if he told Keishi the key's true identity, he'd only end up getting screwed over. This was a secret he had to guard with his life. The scene shifts. I was lying on a bed at the outpost. Completely drained, I didn't have a shred of consciousness left. Red stood by my bedside, his eyes clouded with deep, unshakable sorrow. His voice was thick with self-loathing. I'm so useless. I promised you all I wouldn't let anyone get hurt. But clearly, I was wrong. I'm sorry, I'll take full responsibility for everything that happened. Clutching a broken pocket watch in his hand, he looked as lonely as an outcast, muttering in self-mockery, a hero? What a joke. Seeing this, Ellie immediately stepped up to comfort him, pushing down her own trauma. She said, we should be glad that everyone made it out safe. We only survived because of you and Lady Arancha. Unbeknownst to anyone, Ellie was making a silent vow in her heart. I have to become stronger. Next time, I won't be a burden to anyone. Red gently tried to calm her down. But just as he finished, Mary's expression suddenly turned to one of disbelief. In her wildest dreams, she never expected to see the city's most famous colorists here, and these people claimed to be Kai's colleagues. At first, Mary was full of suspicion. She even felt that Kai's current state was somehow the fault of these colorists, but looking at their sincere expressions, they didn't seem like bad people. Still, her worry for me didn't fade one bit. Her voice choked up. Hang in there, Kai. Please, wake up. You can't leave me to face this alone. The doctor said you'll wake up soon. Come on, get up. Right then, Red suddenly looked at Mary. Your name is Mary, right? He asked. You're Kai's friend. Yes, Mary replied immediately. Don't worry, he'll wake up soon. Red reassured her, but his tone shifted. I have a question. We're looking for a creature named Niru. Do you know where he is? The moment he said that, a figure suddenly materialized from my shoulder. It was Niru. Gale's eyes widened instantly. He pointed at Niru and shouted, Look right there. Look. You finally showed your face, you little brat. Captain, he's the one who swallowed the star fragment. Damn it, Niru, do you have any idea how hard it is to explain how we lost the fragment? Get over here now. But Niru completely ignored Gale's fury. Instead, he used Gale's head as a springboard and leaped straight into Mary's arms. Get lost, you jerk. Gale gritted his teeth in anger. Mary, however, felt an instant wave of relief. Hugging Niru with misty eyes, she cried, Niru, I was worried sick. So you were hiding in Kai's shadow this whole time. You have no idea how glad I am that you're okay. Red furrowed his brows. He muttered to himself. Am I seeing things? This feels so familiar. Is it just my imagination? Before he could finish, Niru's head suddenly expanded. A second later, he spat out the star fragment. Gale was absolutely floored. What? He just spat out? He stammered. Ellie breathed a sigh of relief as well. She said softly, I was just wondering how on earth we were going to get that fragment back. Red picked up the star fragment. His voice was heavy. We finally found another one, but the price was so many lives. As he spoke, his words triggered fragmented memories in the back of my mind. The situation back then was incredibly dire. I watched Ellie and Gale fall into danger, completely powerless to stop it. Only one thought filled my mind. I have to get over there. With a sudden gasp, I bolted upright. Red, Ellie, and Gale were right there. I looked around in a daze, completely bewildered. Where am I? I muttered. Am I still alive? Wait, no. I've turned back into a colorless. Panic instantly washed over me. I'm screwed. I have to come up with an excuse. Otherwise, I'll be kicked off the team, just like before. Red's voice chimed in right on time, with a hint of teasing. What's with you? It's not like you murdered someone. Why the long face? I don't care what you look like. He paused, his tone turning serious. All right, let's move on. The three of you did a phenomenal job on this mission. I honestly didn't think you'd actually find a fragment, but get ready. From now on, I'll be training you personally. As of today, you are officially part of the Red Squad. Got it? Yes, sir. The three of us answered in unison. Hearing those words, the weight on my chest finally lifted. Red nodded. Good. I'm heading out. If you guys have more to talk about, finish up before you dismiss. I need to go see Lord Guansue, hit some rest. You're free until the next mission. As soon as Red left, Ellie spoke up. Look, I'm not going to force you, but you owe us an explanation. Do you remember? I mean, everything that happened. After you lost consciousness, Captain Red told us to keep it quiet. Flustered, I looked away. I barely remember anything, I said quietly. Hearing that, Ellie let out a soft sigh. I see. And I'll stop prying for now. Everyone has secrets they keep buried deep inside. I'm not lying. I blurted out in defense, terrified that she'd misunderstand. Just then, Gil suddenly spoke up. By the way, Kai, do you know any way to restore your strength? Mary's face immediately lit up with pride. She puffed out her chest and said, Don't you worry about that. I prepared for a situation just like this long ago. With that, she started rummaging through the cabinets, muttering to herself. Now, where did I put it? Gosh, it slipped my mind. Found it. Here, this is black ink. I borrowed it from the waste plant. Ellie was instantly horrified. She tried to stop her. Isn't that just industrial waste? You can't use that as ink. Why on earth would you bring something so dangerous here? I stared at the bottle of black ink and couldn't help but praise her. Mary, you're a genius. This is my own private stash. I popped the cap right off. Ellie panicked even more. Are you serious? You know that stuff is toxic, right? Ignoring Ellie's protests, I downed the entire bottle of black ink in one go. A second later, a miracle happened. Power surged through my entire body. I couldn't help but cheer. I'm back in business. I'm finally back to my old self. Mary grinned. Is that enough? If not, I can grab some more from my workshop. Really? Mary, you're the best, I said excitedly. Gale finally couldn't take it anymore. His voice was laced with impatience. Are you two finished with all this nonsense yet? I'm out of here. And by the way, how is your arm completely healed? His eyes were full of suspicion. He knew all too well that only a handful of high-level colorists can master advanced regeneration. How on earth did I pull it off? Gale narrowed his eyes, staring me down. Forget it. Just answer me one thing. Why did you throw your life away for us? I rubbed the back of my neck, feeling a bit self-conscious. Well, you guys were in deep trouble, and I honestly thought I could use my power to hold him back. Turns out I was useless. I just ended up being a bigger burden. But still, before I could finish, Gale grabbed me by the collar. He was fuming. Don't lose your mind on me. Who told you I needed any help? I knew I still didn't like you, kid. Mary exploded with anger. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing, you jerk? Let go of him. Have you lost it? Gale shoved me back and let go. He turned and walked away without a word. Mary huffed in annoyance. That guy didn't even apologize. Unbelievable. Ellie quickly tried to smooth things over. Don't take it personal. He's always been like this. I'll leave you to rest now. Thanks for coming to check on me. As Ellie walked out the door, she looked back and said, Next time, we're settling the score. I turned to Mary and smiled. We should probably head out too, right? Yeah, let's go home. Mary nodded, then suddenly remembered something. Wait, there was something I wanted to show you. I found this while exploring, after taking down a golem. I thought you might be interested. Here, look at this. I saw it, and my eyes widened. Is this? Meanwhile, Red arrived at a realm of prismatic lights. A place was dazzling and breathtakingly beautiful as a brilliant flash of light erupted. A faint silhouette slowly emerged. The voice was gentle, yet commanding. You've come. I've been waiting for you. Red spoke with deep respect. Lord Guansuet. It's been a while, but I've brought you good news this time. Just as you predicted, we are indeed capable of breaking the seal on the Black Witch. At that moment, the entire city erupted. News spread like wildfire from every corner. The entire population was swept up in an unprecedented wave of euphoria. Lord Guansuet pushed back the black soil. He has reclaimed our land. That pillar of light reaching the sky yesterday, was that really Lord Guansuet? I kept replaying those images in my mind, still unable to believe it. For the first time in decades, humanity has snatched back territory from the corruption of the black soil. This isn't just a miracle. This is the hope of survival, pulled from the brink of despair. The city's borders are about to expand. We can finally stay further away from the beasts. We'll have a safer place to call home. Who wouldn't long for a life like that? Someone shouted, this is only the beginning. One day, we will completely conquer the black soil. Others were curious. What kind of legendary figure is this Lord Guansuet who rarely ever shows his face? Amidst the rumors, most people turn their eyes toward the real-world opportunities. New land means new rare resources, an endless supply of ink. Word is that the great families are forming new Vanguard Corps. This is a golden ticket to grab a share and get rich overnight. Everyone was clawing at each other to get in. The whole city was wrapped in frenzy. No one noticed the undercurrents lurking beneath all this joy. I put down the cushion. In my mind, yesterday's conversation with Lord Guansuet resurfaced clearly. He had solemnly asked me, did you see it clearly? The star fragments have uses far beyond this. What you brought back is truly extraordinary. Then, his tone suddenly turned grave. So, you must be careful. The Black Hands are also hunting for these fragments. Once they become aware of your power, they will stop at nothing to hunt you down. They'll want to take you by force. My heart tightened. Just as I was about to speak, his tone shifted, becoming a bit gentler. But don't be too worried. This city has long stood as a barrier against their infiltration. If anything truly goes wrong, I will protect you. But the harsh reality remained. Lord Guansuet let out a soft, helpless sigh. Even so, it's still a shame. If I could, I'd give you my full, undivided support, but for the sake of survival. The city's manpower and resources have already been pushed beyond their limits. I am also doing everything I can to stall the Black Soil's corruption. I cannot leave my post for long. He looked at me, his eyes filled with expectation and caution. Remember, you are special. People will either fear your power or try to exploit it. I will do my best to keep the worst from happening. So, just follow your heart. For now, just keep acting as a vanguard. You should head back now. It was a pleasure talking to you. Rest assured, I'll make sure the Red Squad gets the rewards they deserve. I clenched my fists, burning these words into my memory. It's time to make a move. I've already rested for a day. What should I do now? Mary's face flashed through my mind. She's been stressed out about running low on ink. Since I have some free time, maybe I'll go mining. It'll be like old times, and it might give her some peace of mind. I walked all the way to a grand, imposing building, looking up at the sign. I couldn't help but give a self-deprecating smile. I never imagined the day would come when I'd actually walk in here. This is the assembly hall, where vanguards from all walks of life gather. Back when I was just a colorless. Even getting close to this place felt like a pipe dream. But now, I can finally step inside with my head held high. As a true vanguard, the moment I entered, every eye in the hall turned toward me in unison. A stir rippled through the room instantly. Whoa, who is that guy? Is he the one with the black color? Yeah. The first person ever to master it. Voices filled with curiosity, jealousy, and hostility washed over me in waves. So the rumors were true. He looks even creepier in person. It's impressive, sure, but there's something deeply unsettling about him. What was the Dawn Vanguard thinking? What kind of power does Black even hold? Some pressed for details about the expedition. Others wondered how I'd caught Lord Red's eye. A few whispered spitefully, calling me nothing more than a clown who got lucky. Keeping my head down, I moved through the crowd without a word, unaware that from behind the second-floor railing, a pair of eyes was watching me intensely. The voice of a purple-haired woman suddenly rang out, cutting through the murmurs. What are you doing all of a sudden? You're not a kid anymore. Sit properly. I'm just curious. I wanted to see what kind of person Senior Red handpicked himself. Speaking of which, Arantia, what was it like being with him back then? Is he as formidable as the rumors say? Arantia's voice was calm, yet carried a note of caution. Well, he's certainly impressive. But at the same time, there's an unpredictable instability about him. We need to keep a close eye on him. Hearing you say that makes me even more intrigued. Tie of the Black, huh? I walked up to the window. The receptionist greeted me warmly. Welcome. Is this your first time at the assembly hall? I nodded seriously. Yes. If there's any work available, I'm willing to give anything a shot, she smiled and pointed to a form nearby. You haven't received your official badge yet. Could you fill out some information here first? For new vanguards, we have low-risk tasks available, like ink mining. We're clearing out minor beasts. But before I could even take the form, a wave of malicious whispering came from behind him. A few oddly dressed men were sizing him up with disdainful eyes. Looking at that color is just nauseating. How can someone possess a color like black? Is he even human? That color is like a monster's. It's full of ominous and uneasy vibes. Those fools, why are they advertising this like it's a rare treasure, don't you think? The red-haired leader's face turned grim. His brow furrowed deeply. His expression was hideous, as if he had eaten something filthy. Ugh, that black head. He's a real eyesore. During that last mission, even the boss couldn't stand him. He's just a lucky clown who caught a color as Psy. I really don't get it. Why do they take a guy like that seriously and keep him around? I heard he's just an inexperienced rookie. I turned and walked out of the hall, but I didn't notice. Those men, with dark looks on their faces, were quietly following me. I've already been targeted. Hey, follow me. We can't let a color like that defile our city, right? Let's give him a proper purification, disguised as a miner. I slipped into the black wastelands outside the city. My heart was full of anticipation. Great. Found another one. These are raw color stones. I've never found this many before. I heard our production has been dropping lately. Everyone is worried about it, but these stones aren't just for fuel. They can be crafted into weapons like ink. They'll definitely fetch a good price. Mary will be so happy when she sees this, thanks to these special eyes of mine. From now on, gathering resources will be a breeze. No matter how dark it is, or how well hidden things are, I can see everything clearly with these eyes. But I'm also aware that these eyes consume too much color. I can't use them for long. I looked at Nero, the black cat on my shoulder, and joked with him. Hey Nero, maybe I won't even need a seasoned veteran like me. Soon, I dub why not to be guards vibes of rock. I don't say anything. The harvest far exceeded my expectations. Finished so fast. If I head back now with all this gear, it'll inevitably draw unwanted attention. I decided to kill some time before going back. Might as well practice that ability I've put off. My primary ability, Simo Art. This ability can only be triggered by direct physical touch. And sometimes, whether I like it or not, it spirals out of control. I have to learn to master it as soon as possible. I cracked open a raw color stone. Seeing the vivid, vibrant colors inside, I felt a surge of joy. This is a good one. The color is so bright, it's worth a fortune. But the next second, I froze in my tracks. I watched as the stone's color was drained into thin air. It hurt so much I almost screamed out loud. No, do you have any idea how much this is worth? Don't just absorb it on your own. After the frustration, I calmed down. Recalling that slip-up, there seemed to be a pattern. The more vivid and dazzling the color, the easier it is to lose control, especially when I hear those strange whispers. Knowing the cause is at least a small mercy. I must remain vigilant at all times, so I won't be held back by this power. I lowered my head and thought, the colors being absorbed, they aren't just simply mixing into black. Every color must have its own unique properties. Could I use them in different ways? Come to think of it, doesn't black contain every color? Maybe, just like Lord Radiant. I can wield all the colors too. Took a deep breath, focused my mind. I tried to recall the sensation of the Red Captain's power, that burning heat that felt like my whole body was on fire. As soon as I tried to summon it, a surge of searing energy violently coursed through me. I stumbled back a few steps. Clearly, it wasn't going to be that simple. Whatever. I shouldn't have set my expectations so high from the start. I gritted my teeth and decided to keep practicing until sunset. Time ticked away, until the sun began to dip below the horizon. Only then did I pack up and prepare to head back. On the way back, a sudden thought crossed my mind. Am I being too greedy? Right then, several figures suddenly lunged from the roadside, blocking my path. The red-haired leader sneered at me, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Well, look who finally showed up, you slow-motion bastard. I looked closely. It was the same four losers I'd run into back at the assembly hall. Just by their hair color, it was obvious. They were nothing but trash-tier vanguards. Red hair sized me up, a sinister grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. Who would have thought I'd run into the city's lady out here? Pleasure meeting you, you clown. He barked with annoyance. Hey, you idiot. Couldn't you move a bit faster? His shouting was harsh and impatient. He glared at me, eyes full of contempt. I thought you'd tuck tail and run somewhere else. You really have no respect for your seniors, do you? Suppressing the irritation in my chest, I finally spoke up. Who the hell are you? Who do you think we are? None of your damn business, moron. Can't you read the room? Hand over everything you're carrying. I ignored his threat completely. I scanned the few figures behind him, but a split second later, one of them suddenly gasped, wait. What's that glowing inside your back? Is that color gold or? There's so much of it, boss. Boss, did you hear that? This kid is carrying some high-grade fire. Red Hair's eyes lit up. His voice was dripping with greed. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Did you get some inside intel from somewhere? For a rookie, Your luck is a little too good, but trying to hog all this for yourself is just shameless. I think if we interrogate you properly, we'll find out exactly where you scored this haul, right? Boys, teach him a lesson. Make sure he doesn't even think about fighting back. Hell, leave it to us. Before the words even left his mouth, one of them pulled out a blade and threatened me. Word of advice. Don't try any of that half-assed resisting. If you end up dead, that's not on us. Expressionless, I casually tossed the 2 bags of ore onto the ground. The thugs were stunned for a moment. Then, one bent down to open the sacks, a greedy smile plastered on his face. What's this? You really are a pushover. That's right. Just be a good little boy. But before he could finish his sentence, he let out a blood-curdling scream. He was slammed back like he'd been hit by a freight train, falling flat on his back. Red Hair's face went pale instantly. The others cried out and scrambled back, staring at me in pure terror. You little brat. What the hell did you do? Red Hair was both shocked and furious. I couldn't help but sigh. My voice filled with weary resignation. Whether it's vanguards or ordinary people, there's always guys like you. Don't waste my time. Just come at me all at once. Mary is still waiting for me. Those words completely set one of them off. With bloodshot eyes, he lunged forward with his dagger, screaming, "You son of a bitch." I stepped aside, easily dodging his attack, and slammed a fist hard into his face. A surge of agony followed, and he went flying backward, crashing heavily onto the ground. The impact sent spiderweb-like cracks across the pavement. Before I could even catch my breath, the green-haired guy swung a punch at my back. I caught his wrist, twisted it hard with a backhand grip, and kicked him squarely in the ankle. He shrieked as I hurled him behind me. While he was down, I followed up with a barrage of punches and kicks, not stopping until he was completely incapacitated. I dusted off my hands and said coldly, "If you covet what's not yours, you pay the price." Now just the last one left. Asterisk bang. Asterisk. A bullet whistled through the air, heading straight for my chest. Fortunately, my reflexes were razor sharp, and I jerked my body aside just in time. I patted my chest, heart still racing. Close one, I muttered. Scared the life out of me with that much penetration power. Is that a long-range color extractor? Red Hair looked at his empty barrel, clicked his tongue in annoyance, and hissed, "Damn it, he actually dodged it. What a waste. That shot was supposed to send you straight to hell. I've hated your guts since the moment I saw you. I used to want to join the S-Class Vanguard Squad too. It's not a place where just anyone can get in." Then I hear some nobody from the black market, with a colorist backing him up, walked right in without breaking a sweat. His voice was thick with jealousy and resentment. His eyes grew increasingly crazed. What, the first black color user? I honestly don't get it. Why the hell are the colorists so obsessed with someone who has such a disgusting color? I've changed my mind. Initially, I was just going to break a few of your bones and call it a day. But since my men ended up like this, I'll settle the score right here. Besides, no one will ever know what happened outside the city anyway. He aimed his weapon and opened fire. Bullets rained down like hailstones. Using my agility, I dodged the spray and charged straight at him. I found an opening and threw a heavy punch, but he managed to evade it easily. Red Hair clearly didn't expect me to be this fast. Recovering quickly, he kept firing. Bullets whizzed past my ears. Ugh, you bastard. Stay away from me. So annoying. Frustrated, he fired a shot into the ground. Instantly, debris and shrapnel flew everywhere. My pupils contracted. Confusion filled my mind. That was unexpected. What did he just shoot into the ground? A regular bullet couldn't possibly have that effect. Red Hair seemed to read my confusion. He boasted, "My color talent is refinement. I can materialize rubies and hematite, even with a mediocre ability. Combined with this custom extractor, I can easily manufacture all kinds of high-powered ammunition. As long as I don't burn out from overusing my color energy, my ammo is infinite compared to a piece of trash like you. We're simply not in the same league." Facing such a powerful color extractor, I had no choice but to duck behind a boulder, frowning. Seriously? This extractor is too much of a handful. Based on his close-quarters combat skills, he's probably a B-rank vanguard. Trashy personality, maybe, but he definitely has skills. I want to try and absorb this energy, but how? Even if I use black color energy to protect myself, it won't block everything. If I rush in recklessly, I might end up with a fatal wound like last time. What should I do? But I never expected that the green-haired guy I just took down would quietly crawl back up. He scrambled behind me and locked my legs in a death grip. I was startled. I barked at him, "You moldy piece of trash, let go of me." Green Hair gritted his teeth, refusing to budge. He screamed to his leader, "Boss, I've got him. Shoot him now." A look of pure ecstasy flashed across Red Hair's face. "Haha, great job, now die?" My heart sank. Crap. The next second, a bullet tore right through my skull. Red Hair cheered wildly, yes. A direct hit, but I didn't fall. I remained standing, steady as a rock. Red Hair froze instantly, paralyzed by the sight. Terror washed over his face. His voice began to tremble. What? How is he still standing after that? I took a breath. My voice was calm, but heavy with pressure. Give me a break. Lucky I managed to absorb that. If I'd failed, things would have gotten ugly. Red Hair couldn't wrap his head around reality. He roared hysterically, This is impossible. I clearly shot him in the head. You're dead meat. I spoke slowly. As the black color energy began to surge around me, Red Hair shuddered in fear. He frantically pulled the trigger, screaming like a madman. You freak, die? Just die already. But I didn't even flinch. I let the bullets rain down on me. Red Hair spiraled into a panic. He stared at his silent weapon, totally bewildered. Why did it stop? Keep firing. Wasn't this the power you were so proud of? I sneered. If you're out of ammo, then it's my turn. Red Hair pinned his eyes on me, caught in pure disbelief. Hysterically, he shrieked, "Stop messing around. There's no way you walked away unscathed from my piercing shot. It doesn't make sense. You're just bluffing. Do you really think I'm stupid enough to fall for such a cheap trick? Even if you did block it, you must be torn to pieces underneath." I stared at him silently, my voice calm but projecting absolute authority. Nothing is going to change. As long as I have my powers, your bullets are no longer a threat. But only I knew the truth. This ability to tank bullets consumed far more energy than I could absorb. The results were impressive, but the risk was massive. If I kept this up, I'd run out of energy in no time. I have to deal with it quickly. That color picker in his hand. To get close, raw strength alone won't be enough. An idea suddenly flashed through my mind. Maybe I should try that move. I looked at Redhead and spoke coolly. Mind if I borrow this? My words caught him completely off guard. He looked bewildered. What? I'm going to copy your technique. Before I even finished, a pitch black staff materialized in my hand. Redhead looked like he'd seen a ghost. What the? He stammered. I couldn't help but grin. I can't believe that actually worked. Until now, I've been relying solely on my fists. This black staff is exactly what I need to fix my range problem. The ability to crystallize energy while I was draining yours. I figured out how it works. I looked at him, my tone laced with a bit of mockery. Anyway, thanks. Thanks for showing me something actually useful. A second later, I hurled the black staff at Redhead. He scrambled to dodge it, but the staff slammed into a boulder behind him, instantly shattering it into a deep crater. The power was staggering. Redhead completely lost his cool. You bastard. He raised his gun and fired at me wildly. I didn't even flinch. I let the bullets rain down on me while manifesting another staff in my hand, pulling back to throw. I told you it's useless. I looked at him. Since we're already fighting, you can be my sparring partner. The words had barely left my lips when I leapt into the air, charging straight at him, perfectly mirroring the attack he'd used before. Redhead panicked, stumbling backward. No, this is impossible. He's copying my moves perfectly. I felt my rhythm improving, and a new idea struck me. Time to try a different shape. With a single thought, the black staff in my hand transformed into a razor-sharp blade. Redhead stared at the eerie black sword, his world clearly crashing down. I didn't give him a chance to react. In a blur of motion, I swung the blade. With a clean snap, that specially refined color picker of his was sliced into two pieces. Redhead froze, unable to believe his eyes. This can't be. My custom-made weapon shattered in a single strike? How is that possible? He didn't even use a tool. Does the black energy have abilities I don't know about? His scream was ear-piercing. But a wave of exhaustion hit me. I forced a bitter smile. Why does this ability drain so much energy? I've barely used it, and I'm already reaching my limit. Still, to be able to unleash this much destructive power, it's worth it. I glared at Redhead and spoke coldly. So what's your move now? You're out of weapons. If you still want to fight, come at me with your bare hands. Not that it'll do you much good. Redhead had never been so insulted in his life. Don't get cocky, he roared. Do you really think I made it to B rank on luck alone? Did you think all I knew how to do was pull a trigger? I told you before, my energy can manifest as rubies and hematite, even without the color picker. Killing you is still child's play. A split second later, a swarm of red spikes came screaming toward me. There were dozens of them, nowhere to hide. I threw my arms up to block, simultaneously testing another theory. What if I assimilate his spikes into my own energy? Black energy surged through me the moment those red spikes touched me. They were instantly converted, right in front of me. They condensed into a solid black shield. Redhead's follow-up attacks were all stopped dead by the barrier. Advancing behind the shield, I closed the distance rapidly. Redhead was completely stunned. He just stood there like an idiot, forgetting even to retreat. I wrapped my fist in black energy and slammed it into his gut without hesitation. Redhead let out a blood-curdling scream, his face contorted in agony as he curled into a ball. I grabbed him by the collar and threw him violently to the ground. A spray of blood erupted from his mouth. I looked down at him. It's over for you. I'm busy enough as it is, and yet you're here wasting my time. Redhead lay on the dirt, eyes filled with terror. How can a rookie vanguard possess this kind of power? This is wrong. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't feel like tangled up with him anymore. Yeah. Say whatever you want, you're all bark and no bite. But his next words cut through me like a jagged blade, igniting a darkness deep within my soul. He looked up, staring at me with eyes full of malice and terror. You monster. You give me the creeps. Someone born with black energy. Your power is a freak of nature. Anyone can see that. Don't tell me you've never noticed it yourself. Carrying that black energy inside you, how can you even live with yourself? Huh? That's right, you were never human to begin with. You're just a monster in a human mask. You don't deserve to be one of us. Every word was a poison-tipped arrow aimed straight at my heart. Seeing my expression turn ice cold, fear finally flooded his eyes. He clearly realized he had crossed a line he couldn't uncross. I felt like a machine stripped of all emotion. As the black energy began to surge violently, Redhead panicked, his body trembling uncontrollably. But then, I suddenly started laughing. It was a hollow, eerie sound. Huh? What kind of nonsense are you spewing? You were so cocky when you charged at me, and now you want to pick a fight? Actually, I get it now. I grabbed him by the throat. From the way you're talking, it sounds like you're fascinated by my power. So, let me give you a closer look. Horrified, Redhead struggled desperately. What are you doing? I smiled at him. You took something from me. It's only fair if I take something from you, don't you think? A moment later, the black wasteland echoed, with Redhead's blood-curdling screams. No, get away. Stop it.